Aloha. So happy to be here with Senator Glenn Wakai. He has been an amazing rock star in the legislature on critical issues like expanding broadband access and digital equity for Hawaii's residents and families. So just really proud to recognize him as a 2022 legislative champion.
Thanks for the recognition, David. I really accept this with gratitude. Just the name of your organization, HawaiiKidsCAN, and the emphasis on the can. All too often in Hawaii, we focus on no can. But yeah, I love the fact that you collectively with a whole bunch of other stakeholders made a lot of good things happen this past legislative session.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah, you've got to stay optimistic and positive, or else it becomes too easy to just kind of throw your hands up and disengage. But folks like you're always willing to put ideas out there and work with the community. So we really appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. Oftentimes, in my opinion, in Hawaii, we are really good at defining what we don't want, and we undermine projects and efforts. We really, as a community, have to get behind HawaiiKidsCAN and figure out what it is that's going to define our future and get behind some of these initiatives and stop always just pulling down other people's ideas. So thank you for all that you do to improve education in our islands.
Thank you, Senator. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you is over the past couple of years, it's been really great. I've gotten a chance to, be a member of the Hawaii Broadband Hui, which was it's a collaborative effort, across government, nonprofits, businesses, et cetera, really thinking about how do we close that digital divide here in Hawaii that we know really exists. And, I first got into it, even though I'm an educator by background, we really saw the depth of the challenge when the pandemic hit and kids weren't able to continue learning. And a lot of families didn't have access to quality broadband or internet at home to keep up with distance learning. So you have been such a leader in this area, and I wanted to hear more, maybe what kind of inspire you to focus on, broadband equity, and in particular, this bill that you sponsored this year, SB 2076.
I'm all about government efficiency, and there's only so much the human body can do, whether it's through your muscles or through this muscle that we can extract in terms of productivity. I'm a believer that technology will get us even more value out of government services. And to get there, we have to have broadband, right? That's the backbone. We can talk all we want about a better Hawaii, more efficient Hawaii, but unless we have that connectivity, that's always going to be a dream that we are not able to attain. So this past legislative session, also with the help of the federal government, there's so much money coming in to help and really fund the growth of broadband in the state of Hawaii. So you referenced one bill that we passed this past year, which was Senate Bill 2076. And this bill does two important things. One, it creates a working group to figure out how to get broadband, not just to our island, but out into the community. As you talked about equity, right? It's not like we can bring it here and only the banks and the airlines can access it. Everybody from Papakule all the way to Hanalei, all the way to South Point need to be able to have that same access to good quality broadband service and at a good fair price as well, because we can't say, oh, we got fast speed and oh, by the way, your bill is hundreds of dollars. That's not going to be equitable as well. So taking all of those factors into consideration, we put together a working group of educators, healthcare, businesses, government officials to try and figure out how we make sure that the broadband that's coming here gets out to those who need that service. The bill also has a second part, which provides for more funding in the broadband office. You mentioned the Hui, led by Bert Lum. Bert Lum, to his credit, has been a yeoman, working by himself for years. But if we're talking about the importance of broadband, we need more than one Bert Lum in government. So that bill provides for $360,000 for him to have three other folks to assist him in this grand plan of getting broadband into our communities.
Yeah, I totally agree on your perception of Bert Lum, where he is kind of like the Pied Piper out there, pulling folks together, stitching this all up with volunteer efforts. And we've been really proud to partner with the Hui, as a volunteer and organize testimony for, this legislative session across all the different and sometimes very much competing entities within the Hui. So yeah, it's really great to see the legislature and you specifically stepping up and providing some resources to that effort so that he really doesn't have to go it alone.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. I mean, we want to look at government, and we talked at length so far about the public sector government, but in the private sector, we need that same broadband capacity, because we need to, I think, pivot away from a tourism and very service-oriented economy to one that embraces innovation. And to get there, again, we have to have that broadband capacity to make sure that if we're going to be the leader in drone research in Hawaii, if we're going to be the leader in autonomous vehicle development in Hawaii, that we have enough broadband capacity to power all of those dreams.
Absolutely. Well, to close things out, I just want to pivot a bit to thinking about your vision for Hawaii's youth and some of the job and industry opportunities they'll have here. At HawaiiKidsCAN, we focused on things like technology, like computer science education, because we see it's a strong way for kids to have opportunities to learn these skills and be able to stay in Hawaii and survive and thrive, rather than feel the pressure to have to move away to a Tennessee or a California. And so from your perspective, how do you see this kind of economic development work really being critical to, stemming that brain drain that we have here in Hawaii?
Yep. Well, the educational component has to go hand in hand with the job creation that you just spoke of. I mean, it's no sense in us having the most brilliant kids in Hawaii, and then they have to go to the mainland to go take advantage of that brilliance. We need to make sure that both are in conjunction. And to be honest, in the past, there's just been a disconnect there. We might have a few good jobs, but we don't have an education system that feeds into certain engineering jobs, maybe Department of Defense jobs at Pearl Harbor. We need to really put all of these things into alignment, and technology is the means to do that. And when you look at Hawaii, our isolation is kind of to our disadvantage. We don't have a lot of natural resources. We're never going to be a big manufacturing state here. But what we can do is use our brain power and our kids to be the equalizer for their future opportunities. And I'm a really big fan of moving us from a sector of a service sector and tourism and moving us into an innovation technology sector, because going back to my arm earlier, like, this has only limited capacity. This has immense opportunity, and really should be tapping this muscle for our kids to really turn the tide and provide us the brain gain that Hawaii deserves.
Absolutely. And as a father of a son who's a year and a half old, my hope is that long before he is old enough to even worry about this, that he'll have opportunities, if he chooses, to be able to have world-class education and economic opportunities right here in Hawaii, and stay with me all the time. So that's my hope, to really see that sustainability, at the generational level. And again, it's so great to work with you and to see what you're doing, your leadership, to really make that dream a reality one day.
Yeah, well, I think my greatest responsibility is to your son and all the children that are coming up with him and after him. As a lawmaker, our greatest responsibility is to set the stage for success for future generations.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Senator Wakai. It is great to be here with you today. And thank you again for all of your support and partnership, not just this last legislative session, but many other years as well. So thank you so much again.
Oh, you're welcome. Everybody, we can.
Yes, we can. Thank you.